This episode of iFanboy is brought to you by C2E2, the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo.
For those of you who are wondering why Superman agreed to fight with his costume on, it's because many of our alien spectators wouldn't be able to tell the fighters apart. Except for subtle changes in hue, all humans look exactly alike to them.
I don't think we're allowed to talk about this.
Oh my.
It was a different time.
Hello and welcome to iFanboy, the comic book discussion show. My name is Connor Kilpatrick, and I'm here with
Joshua Flanagan.
And I'm Ron Richards.
I'm gonna use my full name from now on.
Okay, you can do that. Whatever makes you happy.
Yay!
So we're here to take a look at some of the books that have been on our shelves that we've been excited about recently.
You may know this is a Vault show.
Right.
Vault.
But this is somewhat new stuff, though, too. Which is
It's true, but
It's recent-ish.
Recent-ish.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Stuff we want to talk about.
You start us off.
you lead us off.
Wow,
You do that, I'm going to move the remote control.
that was very. We're professional, folks. We've been doing this for years. I'm talking to you about Pluto, and this is. Oh, sorry.
That manga will get you.
Manga shtick. That's what I did there. Pluto by Urasawa Tezuka, and.
You did that very well, by the way.
I know I did, but now I'm like, are there other names I need to figure out how to do on the spot?
No, it's pretty much Urasawa.
You read it, so you tell us.
This is, I believe, an 8-volume series. I've read the first 2. I'm going to talk about the first one.
Very hyped.
Everyone
Yes.
I know says,
Extremely
you haven't
hyped.
read Pluto?
Yeah.
This is one of those things that I don't hear from readers. I hear from comic book pro artists
Yeah.
specifically, are
No,
constantly
I
talking
hear
about
from-
it.
from everyone.
I've heard people in the business side. I've heard from writers, artists.
Yeah.
I've heard from other
Retailers,
folks in media,
yeah.
stuff like
Manga
that.
Everyone.
folks. But
Yeah,
this is.
yeah.
Tezuka right now seems to be the granddaddy big shit guy coming out of Japan. You know, I've heard things all over like this is the best storytelling in comics. This is some of the best cartooning that's being done, and I thought I want to know about that. Our own Paul Montgomery, very very big into it, has written some stuff on our site about it, and so I thought I'll get into this. And I've read the first couple of them.
And it probably should be noted that we probably should do a whole show on the whole series,
I mean,
but
we-
we're not done yet.
Yeah, we
I mean,
might
I'm on
someday.
volume 3, so you know I'm
Yeah.
reading it. You know, so.
But you know, if you've been thinking about it, if you've heard about it, you're curious what it is, let's give you a little introduction.
You gonna read off the back of the book?
Yes. That's how you write book reports at school.
Did you know that Junot Diaz, winner of the 2008 Pulitzer Prize for The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, who mentions a comic book in it, which is why they have him on here. No, he says it's good. Basically, I didn't know anything about what it was about, which I kind of liked because the title doesn't tell you anything.
Nope, yeah.
Look at this picture doesn't tell you. You don't know what it's going to be
I had
about.
the same thing going into it.
Which is, I love that. It's one of my favorite ways. You're pretty sure something's going to be good, and you go in. It's this sort of nearish future, a little bit distant, but not so crazy. It's not Back to the Future 2015 crazy.
Sure, yeah.
But the robots have taken over, and actually it's sort of
I don't know if they've taken over. They've just been
a huge part of the.
They've been integrated into society.
This is taken right in the way that computers have taken over. You would say that
Oh,
now.
I see taken over as some sort of like we're you know.
You're very competitive. They're a huge part of society, and there's already been a big shakeup with how robots interact with humans, and there were rules because there were wars and things where people were fought about it, and the robot rules.
Is there sex?
A relationship.
Robot sex?
Yeah, there's and I'm gonna get to. There's a couple of.
Man sex? Robot sex?
Oh, now it's weird. And now it's
I bet there. I mean, judging by these robots, it's possible.
Anyway.
There are robots everywhere in this society as part of everyday life, and some people are against. It's almost like a civil rights tale in a way. That'd be a pretty good allegory for it. And but there's been a big war, and there are only a few super intelligent robots left, and they're being killed off basically. And so the main thrust of the story is this one guy named, I've never said this out loud, Gesicht. He's German. He's a German sort of Interpol robot.
And it's important to note that he is a robot. Like they have a robot. He's a robot cop for Interpol, but he looks human. I mean,
He's
like,
a replicant.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of
It's
a bit of a spoiler, but you'll know it within a few pages because
yeah.
the first thing is like, you're like, it's just a person. Oh, he is a robot.
Right.
There's a lot of Blade Runner in here,
A
definitely.
lot of Blade Runner. Yeah.
And he's investigating the death of this one really big important robot whose name is totally escaped me right now. The big I just looked at the front.
Harrison Ford bot.
Yeah.
You looked at the front.
It's terrible.
The big guy with the smile.
Mont Blanc.
Mont Blanc, yeah.
And it's funny because they don't really explain why, but he's this big, round, lovable robot with a chicken head.
Yep.
And he was destroyed in this, and he was left with these mysterious antlers around what was left of his head, and there
That
are
was the real clue.
that's the clue, and all of the murders have that in common. So Gesek goes I'm totally not saying that right.
Well, don't tell the whole plot because we don't want.
No, but he's basically going around talking to people, trying to figure it out, and it's a slow burn. But at the same time, you're getting introduced to the way that the world is right now.
Yep.
And for me, the moment that this book that I was like, oh, that's neat, is that he goes to visit the wife of one of the slain robots, and she looks literally like Rosie from the Jetsons.
Yep.
And there's this like silent panel where he's like, I'm sorry, but your husband's killed, and they sort of zoom into her, but her face doesn't change, but the camera and the panel act as if it does.
Yeah.
And it's just, and she's like, oh.
It's very cinematic. I mean, the artwork is really cinematic. It's really, I mean, it's a modern telling of Astro Boy. I mean, that's really what.
Yes, and that's important. Astro Boy
is
is the granddaddy of all manga. That's basically the Superman of Japanese comics.
So it's like almost like Watchmanizing Astro Boy. But the thing is, it was really hyped. I read the first volume and I didn't really see the hype. I was like, oh, it was all right. But it wasn't until I read the second volume where I got pulled into it when the not the conspiracy but the crime, the serial killerness of it expanded, and you got to know more of the other robots, and the storytelling is done in such a way where you find out a little bit more about each robot that is murdered or the robots that are being talked about, and what's great is you only get so much and you want to know more.
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
And that's when you get to the end of the volume and you're like, I do need to know the next thing. I think they're $13 each. You buy them at a discount, $9 each, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. It's like it's just the right amount of stuff. And the thing that I really liked about the first volume is that each time you get to know a new character, you kind of you get to like some of them, not all of them, but like the British robot who went to live with the old man. Like I was like, oh, he's such a nice robot, and so you get invested in that character.
All the robots have different personalities.
And then there's the evil robot, the only one who's ever killed a human, Brow 1589,
who's in prison.
This wonderful design where he's just this pile of cluttered stuff, and he's like, you've come, just
you can
creepy.
hear the voices, And like I said, it really is cinematic. I memean, much more so than most other manga or even comic books that I've read, where it's like you feel the flow of it, you feel the scene transitions, you feel the tension. Yeah, so it is really good. I mean, like I said, I read the first volume and I was like, it was all right. But after the second volume, that's when I saw what everyone was talking about.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm going to finish this completely. But I like that I'm kind of taking my time within it because it's a big thing, and I don't want to read them all at once. It's worth if anything that we just described sounds like something you're into, it's gonna be worth it. Is what I guess.
I mean, and the thing is that we've been on the record as not that we're anti-manga, but not really. Like we don't read a lot of manga.
Well, we did the manga show. Never have we gotten more email about how wrong we are about things.
And so this is the one. This is the one that's come up a lot. And that if you want to check out good manga, check this one out. And it's bearing to be true. So.
This show is going to be all about wild swings from one genre to another.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So
well, let's go.
From future sci-fi to very small personal story. The 120 Days of Simon was from Top Shelf. Well, this was Top Shelf, but it's part of that aborted Swedish invasion that happened last year, where the Top Shelf
aborted.
Well, Top Shelf brought a lot of these Swedish comics over, and then they were turned away at the shoreline by the American audience. Apparently Sweden has a really big comic scene.
Yeah.
And 120 Days of Simon is about, because I didn't say this out loud either, it's almost like manga, Simon Gardenfors.
In fact, I think those names are probably more difficult than the Japanese names.
Really.
And this is supposedly a true story. It's who knows how much embellishment there is. I'm just going to take it at face value as much as I can. And in this, Simon is a famous comic book DJ, rapper, radio DJ, is also a spinning DJ. So he's like this minor celebrity in Sweden. And it's funny because he's also a minor celebrity because of his comic book work. So it's almost like how in European and Japanese cultures, comic artists are much more famous in the general sense than they are in America.
They can make a living, is what you're saying.
Right. So in the beginning of this book, he doesn't know what his next graphic novel is going to be, and he goes to and decides he's going to take a trip through Sweden, only staying with his fans. Yeah. So he goes into the website and says, I want to take a trip, and people respond, you can stay at my house on this date. So he goes all around and gets in all kinds of wacky adventures. Now, the art is very fascinating. It's super cartoony.
Yeah.
But it really works. And there's a lot of cartoony sex in there, and there's violence, so he gets in a fight with...
Does he sleep with a lot of his fans?
He sleeps with almost every female fan he stays with.
Yeah. I talked to a friend of mine who read this and said it was innately amusing just from the slice of life, like if this is all true stories.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you don't really like him, but he's fascinating to watch. He's got this beautiful cartoonist girlfriend who I looked up, and in real life I was like, holy crap. Yeah. And she's also a graphic novelist, and he's in the beginning he started dating her, he likes her, but he's still sleeping with every fan he stays with, no matter how young they are.
Of course, it's got a Peter Baggy quote in the back,
yeah.
so that tells you something about it. But,
It's a lot of fun. It's thick, but since it's only 2 panels a page, you can read it in like...
It's so cool that it looks like a paperback novel.
Yes.
It looks like a mass market trade paperback. It's so neat. I don't know why, but...
And it's funny and interesting.
I gotta tell you who I'm picturing. I'm picturing Russell Brand.
Sure.
That's literally because the way that you
describe
described it, he does a DJ and this and that, and he sleeps with
a
everybody.
Vagabond.
That's who I see.
Admittedly, he's more famous because of his rapping.
Okay.
He's a rapper. It's like if Eminem also was doing comics.
It's very easy to take a Swedish rapper seriously.
Yes.
For me.
It's hard to rap in Swedish.
It's
Flirtenhop. What rhymes with Flirtenhop?
It's funny because apparently from what we know, Jeffrey Brown's a big influence in the Swedish comic scene.
Some of the other books.
And one of the other ones look exactly like Jeffrey Brown.
Yeah.
This one doesn't look anything like it, but you can tell the sort of
storytelling, right?
The wide open, this is my life, and this is how awful I am, but I enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down. It was fascinating.
I want to read it right now.
Yeah. It's just
you guys talk about the last book.
Oh no, you're gonna want to be involved in the last book.
I know.
So if you're into the kind of slice of life stuff, it's totally unusual. It's not like it's $14.95, but it's
thick.
It's thick, and you get. I mean, it's a really enjoyable comic, and it's totally different than what you normally would read. 128 is Simon. I really recommend it.
Does he learn his lesson?
No. what lesson is there to learn? If I go, well, pregnancy scare, yes.
Yeah.
What lesson is there to learn? I'm gonna go around and sleep with lots of people, and it's terrible.
Oh,
it looks like a 2D. What are those kind of video games? The side
scrollers.
Yeah, side scrollers. Yeah, it does.
That's what it looks like. It literally looks like a side scroll. That's how I would describe it.
Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, also known as C2E2. March 18th through 20th. McCormick Place in downtown Chicago. Graphic novels, comics, games. C2E2. C2E2.
C2E2 is awesome.
C2E2.com. Movies. TV. Cosplay.
We are at C2E2 in Chicago.
Meet me there, please.
So now to swing the pendulum in another direction, my pick from the vault comes literally from the vault, but through a recent release, thanks from DC Comics. The classic Superman versus Muhammad Ali. For those who don't know, this was one of the, DC in the late 70s did a bunch of prestige format, which is the larger size format. That was the Spider-Man versus Superman crossover.
They were like this big.
Yeah, they were huge kind of comics. And they also did Superman versus Muhammad Ali. I don't know why. I don't know
why. Because Muhammad Ali was a big deal.
Muhammad Ali was in the zeitgeist.
That's why.
Yeah, I know. It was very much. And so this is the kind of thing that I don't know if I had, but I've seen it. I'd seen it in comic shops.
It's ubiquitous.
Exactly.
It's a ubiquitous book. There's a statue that DC made. I mean, it is a famous story.
But
I read it probably when I was like 5 or not 5, like 10.
Exactly.
How aware were you of cultural, racial
not
overtones?
at all.
Oh, I see. How aware are you now?
Not very much.
So the thing is that in the last 20 years, there's probably a huge comics audience that hasn't seen this unless you bought it or whatever. So
I think the reaction from when they released this re-release and people were like, "What the fuck is that?"
Exactly.
Would bear that out.
It was co-written by Denny O'Neal and Neal Adams. I think that Denny O'Neal laid out the story and then kind of had to go somewhere else, and Neal Adams finished it, which becomes very apparent. And Neal Adams did the entire artwork. And
the modern thing's been recolored. We should mention.
Yes, and the modern release has been recolored and re-updated to look a little better and stuff like that. And I think they did the prestige size and they did like a normal size.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is we often talk about how wacky and weird the Silver Age was, and like this is in that borderline towards the end of the Silver Age, the beginning of the Modern Age, Bronze Ages,
yeah.
and this is freaking weird. It's bizarro.
Well, there are a lot of questions.
Right
away.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so first off, it is a complete and total display of Neal Adams at his prime.
Okay.
It is photorealistic artwork is amazing. His rendition of Muhammad Ali looks like Muhammad Ali in every panel. Mm-hmm.Is Superman looks great. Action scenes are great. The layouts are amazing.
Those crazy multi-panel, border pages.
Exactly. The story, on the other hand, starts out with, it's in the time period when Clark and Lois and Jimmy were working for the TV station.
Yes.
Okay, so they weren't reporting. And they're in the city, and it's clearly Harlem. But they never say it's Harlem. And they're looking for...
I think that's the same guy who asked Green
Lantern
why he never...
It is!
Why didn't you ever help the brown man?
Yeah.
Right?
So they go looking to score an interview with the
superheroes are too damn hot.
They just walk in the streets looking for this sports legend Muhammad Ali to get because he never
That's
gets
how you
interviews.
find
So
him.
they figure
Exactly.
that if we go to where the black people are,
And so sure enough, he's playing pickup basketball with some of the neighborhood kids.
Superman knows all about that. He just walk
Right.
across America.
this is where that came from.
Right,
Yeah.
and so they're literally maybe 30 seconds into the conversation with Muhammad Ali when an alien arrives. And the alien basically smacks Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali punches him. And at the same time, Clark sneaks away and goes up and sees a whole alien armada has invaded Earth. And basically, what is boiled down is that the aliens have come. And they want
Miss did that too.
They want Earth's greatest champion to fight their greatest champion. And Superman comes back down, and they say, "Well, Muhammad Ali, Superman, we're both the greatest champion." So the alien decides the only way to do this is to have you fight each other to decide who fights ours.
Okay. Now, I'm not a sports aficionado,
Yep.
but I have a bit of an interest in Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
I've watched some documentaries. I've read a book or two. I know he was a very good fighter.
Yes.
There's no doubt about this. His tactic was the rope-a-dope, I believe.
which is featured prominently in here.
True. However, Superman is Superman.
Right.
Is the thing.
Well, no, so here's
Is there an explanation for
yes,
this?
there is. So what happens is that they decide, okay, we're gonna fight each other. The aliens have a red sun, so Superman will be powerless in the ring.
Well, then he's just a dude.
Yes.
And he's a dude who doesn't know how to box. He says this. He's like, I don't know how to box. Right? And so what they
Okay.
do is the aliens say, fine, we'll give you 24 hours to train. So Superman and Muhammad Ali go to the Fortress of Solitude, where Superman fashions a boxing ring, as well as a sliver of the red sun of Krypton to take away his powers, and then proceeds to slide the ring, Muhammad Ali, the red sun of Krypton, and himself into a time dimension that allows time to crawl. So what goes by as an hour is a day.
Do they fall in love?
So whereas they've tricked the aliens, whereas they gave them 24 hours, they actually have 2 months to train.
They're cheaters.
and so they spend weeks training and fighting.
Do they grow
and
big
sparring.
two-month beards?
No, there's no beard. There's no musical montage. But so the
Mickey's
aliens,
not there?
The aliens find out about this and then rip them out of the dimension, say you cheated. The fight's now. And what happens is that Superman loses.
Well, don't tell us.
No, I'm spoiling. No, I have to.
Okay.
Superman loses because Muhammad Ali
You
is
have
the
to.
greatest there is.
Right.
But it was all part of the plan. Because while Superman gets his ass kicked by
love
Muhammad
it.
Ali,
What a plan.
and while Muhammad Ali's fighting the alien champion, Superman has donned a costume as one of Muhammad Ali's entourage and has snuck into the alien ship and taken them over and stopped the invasion. And that involved Superman wearing a mask of a black man and at one point pulling it off to reveal his face.
I'm uncomfortable with that.
You should be.
At least it wasn't makeup.
Yeah, exactly. And it is some of the wackiest. Jimmy Olsen does the ring announcing, and he's doing a bad Howard Cosell thing. But the thing is, it was so much fun to read.
Well, that's what's so great about this era of books, and if you like Tom vs. the Flash or that JLA, this is what these books were wacky, and these books would never make it in today's market. They were just fun.
Yeah,
this is just crazy.
It was amazing, and what is very famous for the cover where Neal Adams drew celebrities,
like
and
100 people,
DC staff and DC characters, and in the back there's a whole
the Sergeant Peppers of
There's a whole key to who's in the cover. Neal Adams wrote a great piece about doing the project and how important it was for the time. You understand it's the late 70s.
I bet it sold 5 million copies.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
The big, Superman and Muhammad Ali shaking hands and smiling, and there's a very subtle overtone, not so subtle overtone about the white man and the black man getting together, and it with never saying it except for things like the aliens can't see hue, and so the aliens see no color, but
they can see blue.
It's right. It's very much of the time. It's wacky. It's insane. Like literally, there are moments where I'm laughing out loud. But it was just so much fun. So thank you, DC.
This is a true classic. This is one of the most famous comics that's ever been put out.
And the rope-a-dope does feature prominently. So,
Okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
You know what? It's a good explanation.
What
I
happens is
gotta
that
say.
Muhammad Ali teaches Superman the rope-a-dope, and when they fight, they're basically it's like a mirror. They're fighting each other. That's what they say. Like he's mirror, but then Muhammad Ali gets in. But I think Superman took a dive. That's why. So anyway.
That's not.
Well, I mean, for the bigger picture, it was a plan. They had the plan.
He's Glass Joe.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some poetry. There's some rhyme.
I like that Batman came in the cowl.
Next to Lex Luthor.
But like everyone else
Yeah.
is just a
Is
normal
that Sonny,
civilian.
Is that Sonny Bono?
No, Jimmy Carter.
Like he couldn't have shown up as Bruce Wayne.
No. To the right of Batman's head, is that
Jimmy
Sonny
Carter.
Bono?
Oh, that looks like
That
Sonny
might
Bono.
be. Who knows? Anyway, so
78.
So these are 3 books that that we've been enjoying. I'm sure there are other books that you guys are reading that you'd like us to check out or want to hear us talk about. If you have any suggestions, email us at contact@ifanboy.com, or you give us a call on our voicemail at 1-888-FANBOYS. That's 1-888-326-2697. Or you can hit us up on Twitter at twitter.com/ifanboy.
Yes, that's Sonny Bono. I looked at the key.
Yeah. See, wow. I predicted that. iFanboy is member supported, so go and find out about becoming a member at ifanboy.com/store. There's all sorts of stuff about there, and you can listen to our audio podcasts and all the stuff we do. There's a ton of stuff that comes out all the time in the website.
I was looking up Sonny Bono. What website you mentioned that already?
The website.
Contact@ifanboy.com. You mentioned that. Twitter.com/ifanboy. What's left?
Come to the website.
Come to the website. Yeah.
What I'm saying is,
I was doing research.
We normally try to put a theme to these shows.
Nothing.
But if you can connect these 3 works, you get a no prize.
You're gonna win a no prize.
Yeah.
It's hysterical.
Which
it's
is
fantastic. Nothing. It's seriously like the moments of this were just amazing.
I'm excited to reread that.
I kind of am too.
Chaykin's in the audience. Like, there's a whole bunch of comic pros.
Didn't everybody look like Howard Chaykin back then? That's actually pretty
Joe
impressive.
Shuster, Jerry
Joe Kane,
Siegel,
Howard Chaykin, Sergio Aragonis,
Andy
Walt
Warhol,
Simonson.
Jared, Donny Osmond, Joe Kubert.
I just love how it's just like
Orlando.
how it's just like it's Gil Kane, Archie Goodman, Walt Simonson, Ms. Mystic,
Steve Trevor,
Charles Lomax, Gerald Ford, Mary Batson, Freddie Freeman, Bob Layton, John Jones, Denny O'Neil,
Lex Luthor,
Carter Hall, Larry Hama, Vinnie Coletta, 113. C.
He's blocking the guy next to him.
There he is.
You do look like him.